Lowe's. Find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This episode is brought to you by Welch's Fruit Snacks. Back to school season can be tough on parents, but choosing a snack you and your kids can both get behind doesn't have to be. Stock up on Welch's Fruit Snacks, made with whole fruit and now made with no artificial dyes. It's a snack kids already love and one you can feel good about giving them. Go back to school with Welch's Fruit Snacks, now made with no artificial dyes.
Welcome back to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor, your one-stop shop when it comes to animation, news, and commentary. I am entertainment writer Jim Hill, and Mr. Taylor, whose writings in the industry you can regularly read over on The Wrap, and whose musings on the Mission Impossible movies you can still listen to on Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. He and I are recording this week's show on Sunday, August 16th, 2026, which is the final day of this year's edition of the D23 Expo, which Mr. Taylor and I have been covering for a couple days now, and
it might be the final. It might be the final day of my life, Jim. Actually,
it was a little rough, right? But Drew was actually in the Honda Center for the entertainment panel, which is where a lot of the animated films that Disney and Pixar will be doing over the next couple of years were showcased. And then you were in the Honda Center again last night for the Horizons panel, which was about all of the stuff that's going into the Disney parks over the next couple of years as well. So, and you were filing from the floor. I want to say, it was 11 stories
I did 11 stories on Friday, and I think I did 6 last night. Yeah,
dear Lord.
It got to after the entertainment panel presentation. I was literally kicked out by security because I was still writing after the show had closed. So, yeah.
So we will discuss a lot of that stuff and what Drew and I saw at that event. Just going to caution you folks, this isn't going to be one of our longer shows because frankly, we're both fried. But I promise we'll be back next week with a full-length version of Fine Tuning. Though, before we get to the news, I want to remind folks that Drew and Charles Hood are going to be hosting a special 30th anniversary screening of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And this is the Aero Theater, is that right? Santa Monica?
Yeah, it's the 15th anniversary, Jim. It's
15th,
not that
sorry.
old. Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
Yes. Brad Bird will be Zooming or Skyping or whatever in, and we'll have another guest in person. I'm hesitant to say who, and we might have some other surprises. So please stop by. If you are an animation fan, if you're a Brad Bird fan, if you're a Mission Impossible fan, it's going to be really fun. So, yeah.
Okay. And speaking of plugs, before we get started here, I guess we should mention our sponsor, and that is, of course, Be Our Guest Vacation. And if you're headed down to Anaheim anytime soon, let the experts at Be Our Guest Vacation do the hard work for you. They can book your hotel room. They can line up your theme park tickets. BeOurGuestVacations.com takes care of all the hassle and the frustration. They take it out of the trip so you can just concentrate on having fun. So to learn more about what they have to offer, please check out BeOurGuestVacations.com. Also, probably should mention that the world continued to spin while we were locked inside of the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center. And Spider-Man continues to dominate at the box office. In fact, are you surprised that End of Oak Street didn't do quite as strongly as I think people had hoped? Or
no, I think it did slightly slightly overperformed because I think they were thinking that they were going to lose to Paw Patrol, but it ended up being number 2. And The End of Oak Street is actually excellent, and I don't know why it's sort of been buried, but great movie, great score by Michael Giacchino, great animation from ILM, just a lot of fun. Makes you feel like a kid again, Jim. So
there we go. Yeah. But even so, Spider-Man: Brand New Day was number 1 to the box office, 70 million domestic, and it officially passed 2 billion worldwide this past weekend. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And Odyssey continues to do strong as well. That was 23 million at the box office, and as Drew just mentioned, End of Oak Street, that was 21 million, and that was enough to beat Paw Patrol Dino movie, which was 20 million, 500,000? So they were close, but End of Oak Street came out on top. And beyond that, Toy Story 5 was 8th at the box office. And, thank you. Brain Cell just fired here. I wanted to ask you, Drew, have you ever been into the gallery space at the Pixar Place Hotel at the Disneyland Resort?
I have been there for a recent press day for Toy Story 5. That's
there we
where
go.
we had our little reception, and it's actually a very nice space. I think the hotel, maybe not the best, but I mean the sort of, if you are a Pixar nerd, it's very much at least walking through for sure.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. But Mr. Schul and I were over there, I want to say on Friday. We were getting dinner at Great Maple. And on our way out, I saw the teeny tiny little sign for the Art of Toy Story 5. And we took the elevator up to the second floor. And it's a tiny little gallery space, but it's lovely, as Drew just said. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I was there in March. And I now wonder, man, did I miss a Hopper? Art of Hoppers exhibit there? Is this something that's been in the hotel the whole time, or
I don't know what it was in March. I can't remember when I was there, but it's a fine hotel. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, again, just mentioning this because it's more about the gallery space.
Yes.
The hotel, though, I will say this much. When we were passing through, I did see their exclusive character for that hotel, the Bing Bong, off in the distance greeting guests. And it was like, oh, no, we have to go see him. And Shul wanted us to go to work. So here we are. Speaking of working, let's see. We have an interesting bit of news in regard to Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory, which it was going to be shown on Netflix. It still is, by the way, in December of this year, but it's going to get a theatrical run as well. Is that right, Drew? Or?
Yeah, it's going to be, it's kind of the next big theatrical push after Narnia, the Magician's Nephew in February. And I think it's going to get a 45-day window. It'll be in theaters in early November and then on Netflix for Christmas. And, I think it says a few things. It says that they are very interested, if not fully committed, to theatrical exhibition. And it also says that they are very bullish about this movie, which I've seen a little bit of and looks very charming and very cute. And Jim, you're going to love the new Oompa Loompas. They're the next iteration. They have been minionized, Jim, and they are they're cute little monsters. So yeah.
Okay, well, so just a reminder, Drew's right. It's early November. In fact, to be exact, November 5th is when it opens in theaters, and then it's supposed to start airing on Netflix. They're being available for viewing there December 22nd. Now, again, if we're making you mark things on your calendar here, folks. Something else that's worth noting is we're coming up on Castle in the Skies 40th anniversary, and the nice folks at Fathom are sending it out into theater as part of this year's Fest. So, in fact, that gets started later this week, Drew. The Saturday, August 22nd, you can watch the English dub. And then if you wander into theaters on Monday and Tuesday of next week, the 24th and 25th, you'll get the Japanese language version with subtitles, and then the final day of the run, August 26th, they're back to the English language dub. But I'm very partial to the English dub, if only for Cloris Leachman as the mom. She does such a great job there.
I love Castle in the Sky so much. So yeah, I'm really happy that it's coming back. And yeah, the English dubs always have some great casting. Michael Keaton as Porco Rosso. Even Robert Pattinson as the Heron in The Boy and the Heron. Just great stuff. Yeah,
all true. And back when this was done, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Pete Docter ride herd on the English adaptation to the screenplay? And
he might have. Yeah, this was that was when Lasseter was kind of overseeing things. I know they all kind of had a hand. Lee Unkrich did a couple. Yeah, I think you can really see a lot of Castle in the Sky and Up, actually.
No.
But yeah, it's a delight. If you have never seen it, it is the first full-on Ghibli movie, because Nausicaa was produced before the actual formation of Studio Ghibli. So, yeah, there's my nerd. I'm going to push up my glasses now, Jim, and say, okay, yeah.
Okay, so let's now talk about what you and I saw at this year's D23 Expo. So, in particular, couple of things that hadn't previously been announced, which means, of course, Drew has known about them for months and months and months. Can we talk a little bit about Clay?
Sure.
Okay, so because that's due to arrive in theaters on November 2028, is that right? So we're 2 years, 2 months out, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Clay is that it is being directed by Fawn Vera Sunthorn, who is also directing Hexed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's actually, I mean, it's on that date right now, Jim. We'll see if it stays on that date. Obviously, Fawn was not the original director of Hexed, so she came into it later, which is what she did for Wish as well. But yeah, I mean, it looks crazy. It looks really weird in a good way. But yeah, what did you think of the images from it? They really didn't show much beyond a couple of images and a kind of log line. So yeah, what did you tell me?
Jared Bush talked this up a bit about, that, Disney has always done movies about wise, kind mentors, and evidently, Flip, who by the Kieran Culkin, he's actually going to be voiced. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
But again, this is a reluctant mentor who's assigned a young ball of clay called Mushy that he's got to literally shape into, something worthy to send out into the world. And it's supposed to be a wildly imaginative, funny film. Have you heard any? I mean, again,
yeah, I've heard it's weird as hell, which I love.
Okay,
and the imagery definitely suggests a crazy kind of stylized world that'll be a very big departure for Walt Disney Animation Studios, and we haven't heard what kind of animation style it will be, although at this point anything's possible, Jim. But I love Fawn. I think the world looks very cool, and yeah, it's good to have another original coming out.
No, yeah, but at the same time, the way Disney keeps the lights on these days is sequels, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, we learned that there is a Zootopia 3 in the works, and it was kind of interesting how they handled this announcement. I mean, Jennifer Goodwin came out, Hugh Kwan was there as well. No Jason Bateman, but entirely that's don't mean to make a big deal about that. Jason Bateman probably was actually working on something.
Well, Jennifer Goodwin and Key were hosting the whole panel. So,
well,
yes.
There's also that.
Yes.
So, but again, we don't necessarily have a delivery date on this. We just know that this is a priority at the company, which isn't really a surprise given how much.
We got a logo, and the 3 is a feather. So, yes.
So, wow, what world are we going to next, Drew?
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This episode is brought to you by Welch's Fruit Snacks. Back to school season can be tough on parents, but choosing a snack you and your kids can both get behind doesn't have to be. Stock up on Welch's Fruit Snacks, made with whole fruit, and now made with no artificial dyes. It's a snack kids already love, and one you can feel good about giving them. Go back to school with Welch's Fruit Snacks, now made with no artificial dyes.
Yes.
And again, continuing on we already knew about this one coming. I was surprised we got actually as much finished footage as we did with Frozen 3. What was the reaction in the room to that stuff?
People were going nuts. I mean, let me set up the footage, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to be right after Anna and Sven, Anna and Kristoff. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that's
Animal
have gotten
husbandry.
married.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Sven?
Okay.
Sven is the reindeer or something.
There
right?
we go. But they're good friends.
Yes.
Okay.
So they've just gotten married, and Elsa is kind of greeted with this little snowflake that ends up opening a portal to another kind of frozen wonderland, or is it something more dangerous? And a woman who is clad all in black and seems to have very similar powers to Elsa approaches, and I believe this is going to be, we're actually finally going to get a snow queen in the world of Frozen is my guess. And the things they teased about the story were that it's much more of a romance. There are other characters in love, and our good friend Josh Gad did a rousing musical number where he meets a snow woman named Samantha, and it is very funny. It has a lot of shades of Forky and whatever her name, his bride's name is, Beverly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. And again, that's November of next year, and coming, of course, in November of this year, we're getting Hexed. And I guess the big news that was broken at the D23 Expo presentation is that Jodie Foster is going to be voicing Queen Celeste, the villain of this film, right?
Yes. I mean, and she came out and said, I started my career at Disney, but I've never done an animated voice for them. She's never done an animated voice for anybody, Jim. So this is literally her first voice role. She's narrated, documentaries in the past, but it's pretty incredible. She is 63 years old, and she is voicing her first animated character, and it's for Disney. So pretty perfect.
Right, now, what about the footage they played? How did that go over in the room?
Of course, you're burying the other lead, Jim, which is that Walton Goggins is also in the movie.
True. Sorry.
And he is playing
Rogers.
Yes, the three-eyed cat, Beef Roger Crumbchuck, which, is just another typical Walt Goggins character, a three-eyed cat that can detach his head at will. And he seems to be kind of like the bayou backwater kind of guide for Billy Doe, who is the young girl played by Haley Steinfeld, who finds her way into this magical world. And so a lot of it most of the footage was about those two kind of going off on their little adventure in a kind of camper that he has. And yeah, there was a little bit of Queen Celeste. There was a new trailer that they showed, and she's in that. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. It has not had the easiest production, although what animated movie has? But here's hoping for the best this Thanksgiving. I think that Fawn and Jason Hand will be able to pull this one out of the bag, the magic bag. There you go.
Okay. All right. And that's November 25th of this year. And that's all that Disney made us aware of on the feature animation side, though we did learn that we're getting a Kingdom Hearts series, an animated series for Disney Plus, though. Do we get any information about who's handling that? Or
no, we don't know anything about the vendor or anything else, but the game will not be out until late next year. Or is it late next? I know. I think it's late. Late next year. So I think the animated show will be a while off. But all the Kingdom Hearts stuff, Jim, got a lot of enthusiastic responses in the crowd, including which we'll now talk about the Coco reveal. That
Now we've talked about Coco too, because the company walked that out. March? Was it March of last year? Then talked about, I think you stated they never officially said 2029, but it got reported.
Yeah, it was on their Twitter, and then they took it down.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. So, did we at least learn about a release date, or this was more about who's doing it and what the story is, right? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if they gave a release date. I was sort of working during this section of the
Okay, I'm looking here, and it looks like on the film site they do list it officially now as November of 2029. But again, kind of interesting that they decided to age Miguel up a bit now. He's a teenager, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, because Benjamin Bratt came out and kind of gave a lowdown on the show, on the movie, and Ernesto de la Cruz is back for revenge, Jim. But I think they have, he and Miguel have to form an unlikely kind of alliance there. And the image that got everybody in tears was him with Mama Coco, but she is in her skeletal form in the afterlife, and they are together, and it was very sweet, as you can imagine. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, I guess we should also mention that as part of the parks panel yesterday, we did finally get some information about the Coco attraction that is very much under construction right now.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that they said that it would incorporate elements from Coco too. So, I mean, that does not bode well for the opening date of the Coco attraction, but we'll
all right.
see.
Interesting point there. But the other thing that's worth noting is that one of the things they had on display in the animation or the Imagineering Pavilion is they had the statue that's going to stand outside of the entrance, and it's it's Miguel's grandfather, right, or great grandfather? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The musician of the family who has passed on.
There we go.
Yeah.
But what's kind of intriguing about that is that if the brief bit of art that they shared showed that this is going to be outside of the show building where the actual ride is, and it kind of insinuates that the garden area, the Paradise Garden area there at DCA, which currently has a Mediterranean theme, looks like that entire area of the park may get sort of a Mexican mission rethink. I mean, it'll still have the space where you could eat, it'll still have the restaurants, but might have an entirely different look to it to help set up the ride that's going to be built right there next to the Incredicoaster.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on over there, including you know, that little gazebo that's actually used for a Coco meet and greet during the holidays. That's becoming the men's restroom. The men's restroom is going to become an extension of the women's restroom. There's a lot of kind of infrastructure stuff that's happening over there to get ready for the ride as well.
There you go.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
And speaking of The Incredibles, we got some additional information about Incredibles 3. And again, this is our pal Peter Sohn, who's taking over directing duties from Brad Bird. And Brad, who's no slouch. Remember, we've got Ray Gun coming this December, right?
Yep, December 18th. Yep.
December 18th. So very much looking forward to that. What did they share with the audience there in the Honda about Incredibles 3?
Yeah, well, it takes place after Incredibles 2, and the Bob Odenkirk character is back. He has set up kind of a league for superheroes because now they are legal, and it's very funny because there's a lot of merchandising going on with the characters, and Pete Docter said, "We at Disney know nothing about this," which I thought was very funny.
Okay.
And the first movie was about Bob. The second movie was about Helen. The third movie is about the kids. So the kids are out sneaking around doing superheroic stuff, which I think is a very fun idea. And the other big thing, Jim, is in a world full of superheroes, not all of them can be good. So Incredibles 3 will introduce the franchise's first super villain. So, how do you feel about that, Jim?
I like that. All right, but that's June of next year, the June 16th to be exact. But before that, in March of next year, we get an original from Pixar. We get Gato, which, by the way, they had a photo op thing there that was very popular with D23 attendees. What did they share about Gato in the Honda Center?
They showed a scene that they showed at Annecy, so my eyes kind of glazed over, and then they showed a new trailer.
Okay.
Which just looked adorable. The scene was really great and features Enrico Casarosa as a pigeon, a pigeon union leader, Jim, named Salverio. And he helps the cat kind of the whole story is about this cat thief who's trying to steal a cat-themed instrument from a young girl, and then who has been very anti-human kind of falls in love with and has a nice friendship with this human girl, and that was great. And then they showed a trailer, which was just awesome. And I don't know, I think the movie is going to be really special. I love Enrico and I love Luca, so I cannot wait, Jim. And I am not a cat person, but I'm going to make an exception for Nero. He's going to be my sweet boy. Yeah.
No, but like I said, Dan Santa recently adopted two cats to annoy our other cat, and I have to say, Rocket at our house is so scarily like Nero, or at least the look of Nero. It's, and I know that means a ton of merch getting purchased and brought to my house. And
Yes.
Speaking of going someplace to buy something now. Ghost Market, Drew, we've talked previously about this Pixar film here on this podcast because it once upon a time.
I don't know. Yeah, this was supposedly secret, but yeah.
Well, no, I think you had mentioned that kind of like Win or Lose, this was a limited series that then got reimagined. Well, in this case, as a feature, right? Actually, more like what Disney did with Moana too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This was supposed to be the follow-up to Win or Lose, and the director, Trevor Jimenez, was one of the two directors on Win or Lose. And, it's being realized very much intact as to what the show is going to be, which was it was going to be the first kind of spooky Pixar movie. And I think that is going to totally follow through. I mean, people when it was a show were describing me as it's like Pixar's Laika movie, which I think is interesting. And the footage was great. It was a little kid who is going on vacation with his mother in Hawaii. He wants to sneak some food late at night. He goes into kind of a mini mart, and there are ghosts there, hungry ghosts, Jim. And it's really interesting. Docter said he kind of stumbles upon a gateway between our world and the spirit world. And so, the animation was very pushed, and it was very, it was spooky. I mean, Docter was describing it as Pixar's first horror movie on the red carpet. So I am really, really excited about this one, Jim. I cannot wait. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of which, I was lucky enough to go to the World Builders panel today at the D23 Expo, and they actually showed the whole film there, and it's super.
They showed World Builders. They did not show Ghost Market. We need to work on your connective tissue here, Jim.
There we go. Sorry. With the World Builders, Leslie Iwerks' brand new documentary. But Pete Docter, beforehand was talking about, it was interesting about this expo is they were celebrating Pixar's 40th anniversary. And he was talking about, this new generation of filmmakers and the new technology they're using at Pixar, and how he's so proud of the newer projects that are coming out from Pixar, including this one, Ghost Market. So, but it's supposed, all we know right now is spring of 2028.
March 10th.
Okay, well, there we go.
Yep.
But anyway, Drew was just mentioning Laika a second ago, calling Ghost Market, Pixar's first Laika-like movie. And just want to remind folks that, Drew, who writes superb making of books for various animated films, he's got his making of Wildwood arriving sooner than later, folks. It's going to hit store shelves on October 6th. And this film itself, Wildwood, is being brought into theaters by Fathom Entertainment. They're looking to stage it as a cinematic event, and it will hit theaters on October 23rd. So if you want to learn more about how Laika's latest stop-motion masterpiece is created, hey, maybe get yourself a copy of The Art of Wildwood. Likewise, again, want to remind you about the 15th anniversary screening of A Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which will be held at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica. Again, the date, Drew?
Saturday, the 22nd, and it's at 7:30, so come on.
Okay. And if you want to learn more about the Mission Impossible films, there is, of course, the amazing series that Drew and Charles Hood did. By the way, Charles Hood will be co-hosting with Drew this 15th anniversary screening of Ghost Protocol. But
unfortunately, yeah.
But Charles and Drew collaborated on nearly 300 episodes of Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. And again, whenever I'm in the car on a long drive, I queue up a few of these to listen to. And Drew always gets these guys, the folks who've worked on the Mission Impossible movies, to tell not only amazing stories about those films, but also the other projects they work on. And speaking about the project, we've got other shows here at Jim Hill Media. We've got Disney Dish with Len Testa. That's our Disney News podcast. We have Epic Universal. That's our Universal podcast. That one I do with Eric Hersey, who, by the way, produces a lot of the shows here at Jim Hill Media. We also have I Want That Too. That's our Disney merch podcast I do with Eric's lovely bride, Lauren, and boy, did she have her work cut out for her at this expo. And then there's our newest show, The Case for with Chris Cox. We actually recorded a couple of brand new episodes of that. Those are debuting shortly. Let's see. And beyond that, I want to remind you about our Patreon project, Disney Unpacked. We actually, myself, Len Testa, and veteran Imaginer Jim Schul, recorded a bunch of shows while the three of us were in town together. We've got a walkthrough of DCA coming up. We've got a walkthrough of Disneyland, and then we actually do a show about Disneyland's neighbors back in the 1950s. And, folks, that one's worth listening to alone, if only for Nixon's, the fast food restaurant that was run, Drew, I kid you not, at the corner of Harbor and Catella back in 1957 by then Vice President Richard Nixon's brother, Don. You cannot make this stuff up. So, but, be sure to check that out. Anyway, as we close out here, I want to thank Eric Hersey and David Gray for the great job they do with the editing and production of this podcast. Also have a quick favor to ask, folks, if you could please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this show, as well as Light the Fuse. And Drew, again, you literally just got back from D23, so I probably should know better than to ask is, but anything you're moderating, or
I mean, not beyond the Mission Impossible thing, but
okay,
I'm sure there will be more.
All right. Well, if you want to keep tabs on where you can go to see Drew interview some of today's top filmmakers, social media. Let's check out Drew's social media stuff. So where can they find you, Drew?
Drew Tailored on Instagram and X. And Jim, where can people find you?
Well, they'll find me asleep in about 5 minutes, but on social media, they'll find me on X, and Instagram is Jim Hill Media, and over on Facebook is Jim Hill Media News. And again, apologize, folks, for somewhat shorter edition of this podcast this week, but again, we got you one. Yes. And we'll be back with a full-size show next week. So on behalf of Mr. Taylor, I want to thank you for listening to this special edition of Fine Tuning, and we will be back next week.